Hello, sound check. Am I live? Yes, I think live na ako, no? How's everyone doing? Kumusta kayong lahat? Sir Howard here. Today, pag-uusapan natin yung tinatawag na law of curiosity. This is again one of the laws being discussed in the book by John Maxwell, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. As I always say dito sa aking series of videos, this is a good book to read for those of you who are interested in personal development, motivation, personal improvement. You read this book by none other than Pastor John Maxwell. Alright? And again, this episode is based on one of the laws that Maxwell is discussing in this book. And this law is called the law of curiosity. So, ang sinasabi ni John Maxwell, the law of curiosity, growth is stimulated by asking why. If I am going to summarize what he's saying here, as I always do, sa tingin ko mas madaling intindihin to, if you want to grow, you need to keep asking questions. In fact, that's the essence of being curious. Kaya siya tinawag na law of curiosity because this chapter is teaching us the value of asking questions or being curious. So if I am going to summarize what John Maxwell was saying in this chapter, ito lang yung kanyang pinupunto. That if you want personal growth, okay, wait lang medyo mali pala yung aking spelling dito. Palitan na natin. If you want personal growth, if you want personal growth, one way to do it, one way to achieve it is for you to develop your curiosity or your ability to ask questions. Alright? Now, the first thing Maxwell was teaching about curiosity is it is human nature. Hindi mo kinakailangan turuan ng isang tao to be curious para maging curious siya. By nature, as we grow older, as we interact with our environment, talagang naku-curious na tayo sa mga bagay-bagay. Sabi nga ng isang author, he puts it so well, the cure for boredom is curiosity. There is no cure for curiosity. Tanong, bakit? Why is it there is no cure for curiosity? Because curiosity is natural. It is innate. We are programmed, we are designed by God Himself for us to be curious. One good example of this, just to prove this point, is when you observe babies. Yung mga babies, di ba? Kailangan mo bang turuan ang isang 2-year-old baby na maging curious for him or her to be curious? The answer is no. Ilagay mo lang yan sa isang environment. Bigyan mo lang yan ng mga laruan. By nature, they become curious with the environment. They become curious with the toy. Diba? Kung ano-ano yung mga kakalikutin yan dyan, kung ano-ano yung mga kakalkalin niya around the environment, that is a sign of our psychological curiosity that is again innate in us, natural in us. Now, you translate that curiosity towards the adult level or mas mature na level. Yan ang reason bakit malakas talaga ang hatak ng social media sa mga tao. What is the psychological explanation why people are so attracted or drawn to social media? Sagot, because social media satisfies our curiosity. Marami tayong mga bagay-bagay na tinatanong about our world, about politics, about other people. And these questions can be answered by contents that we see in social media. Kaya alam nyo, yung social media na yan, hindi talaga malulugi yan. Kasi ito ay isang industriya that satisfies the innate desire of human beings to know things. Social media satisfies the questions that we ask. Kaya tugmang-tugma talaga yung serbisyo na binibigay ng social media in connection to our curiosity. Okay, so given this, na itong mga sinasabi ko, no, let's have a mental exercise in connection to curiosity in asking questions. Think of 3 questions you have right now. Think of 3 questions that you are curious about the world right now. Again, this is natural, di ba? Pinapa-experience ko sa inyo yung inyong natural desire or natural quality of being curious. Isip kayo ng 3 tanong ngayon na curious ka about the world in general. Like what? totoo bang may Diyos? Bakit may mayaman? Bakit may mahirap? Or saan kaya napupunta? O paano umiikot yung tubig sa mundo? Bakit yung ocean hindi nauubos yung tubig? Things like that. Okay? So I want you to think of 3 questions right now about the world na matagal ka nang curious. Okay? Number 1. And then number 2. And then number 3. Alright? So kung ginawa mo tong mental exercise na to, you just used your ability to ask questions, which is again, tulad ng sinasabi ni Maxwell, natural in us. Okay, so we are going to have a short break. Pagbalik natin, pag-uusapan natin, what is the link between asking questions and personal growth? That's a good question to ask. Bakit tayo tinuturuan ni John Maxwell na magtanong at paano nakakatulong yon sa ating personal growth? We'll talk about that when I come back. Diyan lang kayo. Alright, so tulad nga ng sinabi ko kanina, in this part, we are going to discuss how does asking question lead to personal growth. Bakit kapag tayo ay nagtatanong, nagkakaroon tayo ng pag-unlad ng sarili? The first answer to that question is, it's because when we ask questions, we get more information. Alright, so asking questions give you more information. Information is the building block to growth. Hindi tayo mag-grow, hindi tayo uunlad kapag kulang tayo sa informasyon. So that is a very basic truth to remember. You want more growth, you want to upgrade your life, you want to upgrade yourself. What do you need? You need lots and lots of information to make that happen. So ilagay natin sa diagram yung slide na yan. It looks something like this. Let's say you are in stage 1. Gusto mong mag-upgrade maging stage 2. Gusto mong mag-upgrade maging stage 3. Gusto mong mas umunlad, pumunta ka sa stage 4. Ano ang kailangan mo all throughout? You need to collect information. Hindi ka uunlad kung kulang ka sa kaalaman or kulang ka sa impormasyon. Pero, yung impormasyon na yan, darating lang sa iyo yan if you have the habit of asking question. Kasi kung hindi ka naman nagtatanong, walang mga information ang darating sa iyo because you are not asking questions. So that's the value of asking questions, no? It makes you or it attracts to you different information in your environment that you will need for growth. Yan yung nangyayari kapag ikaw ay nagtatanong. And the observation of Benjamin Franklin is also in line with what Maxwell was saying. Ang ganda na sinabi ni Benjamin Franklin about this. All highly competent people continually search for ways to keep what? Learning, growing, and improving. Pag-upgrade yan ng sarili. When you learn, when you grow, when you improve. Paano raw nangyayari yan according to the observation by Franklin? They do that by, there you go, asking why. After all, the person who knows how will always have a job, but the person who knows why will always be the boss. Pero wag na nating i-differentiate yung nagtatanong ng why o yung nagtatanong ng how. Ang mahalaga dito, nagtatanong. As long as you are asking a question according to Benjamin Franklin, you have the habit of asking questions, you are bringing self-improvement. So, to put that idea in a diagram, ang sinasabi ni Benjamin Franklin ganito. When you ask questions, that's your habit, that's your psychological habit, it makes you exposed to information. Nagigain ka ng mga information because of the questions that you are asking at ang ending niyan, nagkakaroon ka ng personal growth. You become wiser, you become smarter, you become more knowledgeable, all because you were asking questions. Alright? Now, this principle also applies to spiritual growth. Maraming mga tao nagtatanong, bakit ba spiritually nanghihina ako? Bakit ba parang minsan feeling ko, God is not with me? I am not being spiritually fruitful. Well, the answer there is, it's because in your spiritual life, it's possible that you are not asking questions. And why is it that you are not asking questions in your spiritual life? Well, as a Christian, sa tingin ko, one of the reasons is we have a misconception that in Christianity, we are not allowed to ask questions, which is wrong. Mali yung paniniwala, kaya dapat mong baguhin, no? Mali yung paniniwala na hindi ka pwedeng magtanong sa Diyos, na dapat absorb ka lang ng absorb ng teaching ng Diyos, na hindi ka nagtatanong. That is a misconception. Because to be a Christian means we are allowed to ask questions, to be more reflective about God's Word. In fact, paano natin nasabi to in the Bible? There are many passages which show that God Himself, the God that we worship in Christianity, is encouraging Christians to ask questions so that our faith on Him will be deeper and stronger. Yan yung mahirap, kaya minsan yung faith ng isang Kristiyano mababaw lang kasi absorb lang ng absorb. Hindi nagtatanong, hindi nagre-reflect doon sa mga sinasabi sa Biblia. One good example of this passage that show that we are encouraged to ask questions is in Isaiah. Come now and let us reason together, said the Lord. You focus on that word, reason. Let us reason together, ang sabi ng Diyos. Anong isang activity ang ginagawa natin when we reason out with another person? We ask question. Kasama yan. If you are going to reason out with God, you ask a question. 'Di ba? You ask, tatanungin mo ang Diyos, sasagutin ka ng Diyos, and vice versa. Magtatanungan at magsasagutan kayo. That's what it means to reason with each other. And that's exactly what the Lord is trying to encourage us to do in our spiritual life. Ask Him questions, He give us the answer, and our faith becomes deeper. In another part of Isaiah, we see here, review the past for me. Again, God is the one talking here. Let us argue the matter together. What do you do when you argue with someone? Part of the process, you ask that person a question. Kapag merong argumento ang dalawang tao, yan ay series ng pagtatanong at pagsagot. So, ine-encourage tayo in Christianity, in our spiritual life, to ask questions. In fact, why are we even being encouraged to ask questions? Ano ang purpose? Why is it that God wants us to spiritually grow by asking questions? Alam nyo anong sagot? So that in the future, when somebody who is immature, when somebody asks us a question about Christianity, we can effectively share our faith with them. Nasusulat yan in 1 Peter. Di ba sinabi sa 1 Peter, sanctify the Lord God in your hearts, and altogether, read with me, be ready always to give an answer to every man that asks you for a reason of the hope that we have. See? Kinakailangan meron tayong sagot na ibibigay sa isang taong nagtatanong. But I want you to dig deeper. So meron tayong sagot. Saan nanggaling yung sagot natin? Kasi once upon a time, nagtanong tayo. You see, that's what it means to grow spiritually. We ask questions, we gain the answer, and we share the answer to those people who need the answer. So in Christianity, we are being allowed, we are encouraged to ask questions, because asking questions, as the first point is saying, will lead to personal growth. It will also lead to spiritual growth. Okay? Number 2. Anong meron sa asking questions? Why does it lead to personal growth? Because asking questions make you exert effort. What do you mean by asking questions make you exert effort? Let me put that in a diagram. Kapag nag-i-start ka sa curiosity, naku-curious ka sa mga bagay-bagay, okay, nagkakaroon tayo ng psychological tension. I'm sure many of you know what I'm talking about here. Pag meron kang tanong na hindi mo masagot, hindi ka mapakali. Merong feeling deep within us na gustong-gusto nating masagot yung bagay na naku-curious tayo. Anong tawag natin doon? We call that psychological tension. And when we talk about psychology, anong ginagawa ng mga tao sa psychological tension na nafe-feel natin? Ito yung tinatawag na tension reduction psychology. In tension reduction, ang ibig sabihin lang yan, gagawa tayo ng mga paraan para pababain, to decrease, to lower down the level of tension that we are feeling. Kasi hindi maganda sa pakiramdam yan, yung merong kang tension sa loob. So, ang gagawin natin, gagawa tayo ng mga ways na magpapababa nung tension na yon. And what are some of those ways that we do para bumaba yung tension na yon? Ayan na. Diyan na ngayon tayo gagalaw. Diyan na tayo mag-e-effort para mawala yung psychological tension na nafe-feel natin dala ng ating curiosity. And what are some examples of these movements and efforts that we do pampababa ng psychological tension? Diyan na ngayon magre-research tayo. Okay, naku-curious tayo, magre-research tayo. Naku-curious tayo, nag-aaral tayo. We read, we talk to people, we interview them, or there are times we even experiment ourselves or on ourselves just to end the curiosity that we have. Diba? Kaya tayo gumagalaw ng ganito kasi naging curious tayo at yung curiosity na yan nagdadala sa atin ng psychological tension. And what do you notice? As we do the following movements, as we exert the following efforts, anong nangyayari? In the process, doon tayo nagkakaroon ng personal growth. Kasi nagbabasa ka, nagtatanong-tanong ka, nag-aaral ka, nag-gain ka na naman ng information. And if you remember the first point, the more information that you have, that will lead you to grow as a person. Okay, so balikan mo yung mga activities na yan, no? Lahat yan, kapag ginawa mo yan, talagang mag-iipon ka ng information within yourself that will lead you to experience personal growth. At kapag nangyari na yan, no? Kapag ginawa mo na yung mga efforts na ginagawa mo, nawala na yung tension, nawala na yung curiosity mo kasi nasagot na. So, dalawang magandang bagay ang nangyari. Number 1, you were able to decline the tension that you are feeling. And number 2, you ended up growing as a person. Nagkaroon ka ng personal growth. One good example to demonstrate this principle, yung nangyari kay Thomas Edison. Sabi niya, di ba, yung I have not failed 1,000 times, I have successfully discovered 1,000 ways to not make a light bulb. Kasi bago pala siya nakaimbento successfully ng light bulb, he failed so many times. How many times? Approximately 1,000 plus times. But this principle is at work. Ginagamit ni Thomas Edison yung principle na ito eh. Every time he fails, he asks questions. Naku-curious siya sa failure niya. So, pinailaw niya yung light bulb, pumalpak. Naku-curious siya, bakit palpak yung pag-ilaw ng light bulb? Now, he asks himself questions. Bakit hindi gumana? Anong maling ginawa ko? Anong tamang ginawa ko? And then he tries again, and then he fails again. But that new failure that he has, maku-curious na naman siya. Oh, ba't ganun? In-adjust ko na naman bakit palpak pa rin? Ano kaya yung mas pwedeng gawin para hindi na pumalpak? Gagawa na naman siya ng bagong try. Papalpak na naman. Maku-curious na naman siya hanggang umabot siya sa 1,000 tries. What's the bottom line here? The bottom line here is Thomas Edison was able to maintain his effort, all right, to make the light bulb light because he kept on asking questions. And as he kept on asking questions, the more he exerted effort, and the more he exerted effort, gaano karaming effort in-exert niya? 1,000 times effort, the more he's gaining information until one day, he had enough information in his head that now he is able to successfully make a light bulb light. Yan yung ibig sabihin ng point number 2. Asking questions make you exert effort, which makes you grow. Alright, so in connection to point number 2 and number 1, i-combine na natin, no? Let's do this mental exercise. Number 1, I want you to think of something you don't know right now, but you think you need to know. Isip ka ng isang tanong ngayon na hindi mo alam yung sagot sa tanong na yon, pero sa tingin mo, it will bring you personal growth kapag nalaman mo yung sagot sa tanong na yon. Okay? Right? Ready? Go. A question na hindi mo alam yung sagot, pero sure ka pag nalaman mo yung sagot sa tanong na yon, magkakaroon ka ng personal growth. And then step 2, how can you know this? Tanungin mo yung sarili mo. Paano mo malalaman yung sagot doon sa tanong na inisip mo in step 1? Ask yourself, what effort? Yan, that's a very important question. No? What effort should you do para makita mo yung sagot doon sa tanong na tinatanong mo? Do you need to read? Do you need to interview people? Do you need to research? Which website do you need to go to? Ayan. So, isipin mo ngayon, anong kailangang effort yung gawin mo to answer that question? And last one, number 3, ito gagawin mo later after this video, you begin to move. So, right after this video, you begin to move, you begin to exert that effort that you need para malaman mo yung sagot doon sa tanong na sa tingin mo magbibigay sa'yo ng personal growth. Number 3, the third reason why asking questions will lead to personal growth is asking questions will unlock your higher capabilities. Sa simpleng Tagalog, kapag nagtatanong ka ng mga questions, nagkakaroon ka ng pagkakataon na madiskubre na marami ka pa palang mga bagay na kaya mo pang gawin. Mas marami kang mga mas mahihirap na bagay na kaya mo pang gawin, which you will not discover if you stop asking questions. Let me demonstrate what I mean. No? For example, let's talk about human societies in general. Paano ba nag-grow, or in the language of sociology, paano ba nagde-develop yung human societies? Answer, how do human societies develop or upgrade their lifestyles? By asking questions. Once upon a time, a member of a human society asked the following questions. How can I make the world be brighter? How can I make humans fly? How can we travel faster? How can we spread knowledge through books? How can we produce many goods in just a short span of time? All of these are questions. Somebody in the society asked these questions. And then what happened? Nag-effort sila. That's point number 2. Nag-effort sila para masagot nila yung mga tanong na yan, pero ano ang ending? Because somebody in the society asked the following questions, nagkaroon tayo ng light bulb, nagkaroon ng airplane, nagkaroon ng kotse, nagkaroon ng printing press, nagkaroon ng factory. What do you notice? All these things that you are seeing in your slides right now are things that made the society grow. It upgraded the lifestyle of our society. Ito yung tinatawag nating societal growth. Nagkaroon ng societal growth because these things were invented. And these things were invented, why? Because somebody asked a question. In fact, kahit na societal growth ito, no, you can also apply this to the level of personal growth. Ito kasi macro ang application, society, pero you can also reduce this to personal growth. You can also ask questions about yourself, and when you answer those questions about yourself can lead to personal growth. Let me give you some examples of possible questions na pag nasagot mo, most likely will give you personal growth. Paano ako mapopromote sa trabaho? Paano ako mas magiging healthy? How can I strengthen my relationships? How can I become closer to God? No? Paano ako mas magiging productive? Right? These are questions na kapag alam mo yung sagot, malaman mo yung sagot, sure ball, 100%, it will give you personal growth. And so, as you proceed to number 6, I want you to do this mental exercise. I want you to ask another personal question about yourself na sa tingin mo, kapag nalaman mo yung sagot sa tanong na yan, it will give you personal growth. Alright? Think of one question. Hindi mo alam yung sagot, pero alam mo kapag nasagot mo yung tanong na yun about yourself, it will give you personal growth. I will give you more time to think of that question. I'll be back in just a second. Alright, I hope you are learning so far. Now let's close our video by discussing 5 ways on how to cultivate curiosity. Paano ba mas maging curious? Remember, in this video so far, we established how important it is to ask questions because the more you ask questions, the more you experience personal growth. At pinaliwanag ko na ng mabilis kung papaano nagkakaroon ng personal growth by asking questions. So, if asking questions is so important, how do you train yourself to be a person of curiosity? How do you shape yourself to be more of an asking person? Okay, paano ba mas maging curious? I have 5 ways to share with you. Number 1, una, dapat baguhin mo yung perception mo o yung pananaw mo tungkol sa pagtatanong. Let's not be shy to be curious. Question, where is shyness coming from? In the first place, why are people uncomfortable to ask questions? Nanggagaling yan sa isang misconception that we need to correct. Kasi most people, meron tayong misconception of thinking that asking questions means we are stupid. We don't feel good when we ask questions because we think other people are thinking that we are not smart. Akala natin pag nagtatanong tayo, konti ang kaalaman natin. Totoo naman yun, kaya ka nga nagtatanong kasi hindi mo alam. Pero that's not a bad thing. Actually, this is the fault of traditional education Diba? Fault yan ng traditional education, yung paniniwala natin na kapag nagtatanong tayo, mahina tayo intellectually. Ganyan kasi ang sistema in traditional schools. They give us the answer, and then when they give us the answer, they expect us to just absorb the answer and not to question that answer. I-memorize mo na lang. Huwag mo nang questionin yung sagot na yan. Kasi yung sagot na yan, lalabas sa exam yan. So we are taught just to absorb and not to ask questions. In fact, frustration yan ni Robert Kiyosaki, the financial guru. Kaya isa siya sa mga critic ng traditional education. He said, the trouble with school is they give you the answer and they give you the exam. That's not life. At totoo yan. Diba? In traditional school, we are given the answers, we are taught to memorize these answers and parrot these answers during the exam. Hindi tayo tinuturuan na magtanong. Kasi para sa kanila, pag nagtatanong tayo, nagiging bastos tayo. So doon nanggagaling yung ating pagkahiya when we ask questions. Feeling natin bastos tayo pag nagtatanong tayo. But that is not the case. If we want to grow according to Robert Kiyosaki, according to John Maxwell, we need to be asking more questions than waiting for answers. Unfortunately, baliktad nangyayari sa mga kabataan ngayon. Many young people today, the reason why they are not intellectually growing, it's because of this kind of attitude. They would rather wait for answers than ask questions and find answers on their own. Karamihan ng mga kabataan ganyan. If we want growth in our personal lives, we need to reverse this. Re-reverse mo dapat yan. Dapat less than yan. Hindi tayo nag-aantay lang ng sagot. Tayo mismo ang nagtatanong ng tanong at gumagawa tayo ng paraan para masagot yung ating mga katanungan. That is the road to personal growth. Sabi nga ni John Maxwell in his book, anytime a person is answering more than asking, you can be sure they've slowed down in their growth and have lost the fire for personal growth. So change your perception. Hindi porket nagtatanong ka, ibig sabihin mahina ka intellectually. It just means that you want to grow as a person. Number 2, another way to train yourself to be more curious is to have a beginner's mindset. Isa sa mga balakid or obstacle in English sa growth ng tao is yung ating pride na sinasabi natin, alam na natin yung mga bagay-bagay. In English, I already know this. Hindi mo na ako kinakailangan turuan kasi alam ko na yan. Hindi ko na kinakailangan magtanong kasi alam ko na yan. You see? When you have that kind of mindset, alam ko na yan, that stops you from asking questions. And when you stop asking questions, again, you don't grow. If I am going to put that idea in a diagram, ganito kasi nangyayari dyan, Imaginein mo, ikaw to. And these are the information that you need for you to grow. But you have a wrong mindset. Feeling mo, alam mo na lahat. So ano nangyayari? That kind of attitude, yung pride mo, na alam mo na ang lahat, hindi mo na kinakailangan magtanong, becomes a large obstacle to the information that you should be absorbing for your personal growth. Nahaharangan ng kayabangan mo yung mga impormasyon na dapat nagdadala sa'yo ng personal growth. So ano ang gamot dyan? Ang gamot dyan, baguhin mo yung attitude mo. Huwag tayong mayabang. Let's have a beginner's mindset. What do we do in beginner's mindset? We let go of the idea that we already know things. Kaya nga beginner's mindset eh. Ang mindset ng beginner, wala pa akong alam. Marami pa akong hindi alam. Marami akong tanong. Kaya please lang, pakisabi sa akin yung mga sagot sa aking katanungan. Now you begin asking questions. And when you do, what happens? Nawawala yung obstacle dito. Yung mga information na magpapagrow sa'yo can easily go through you. And it's only a matter of time before you grow as a person. So bawasan natin yung pride natin na iniisip natin hindi natin kailangan ng tulong kasi alam na natin lahat. And I remembered one philosopher na very connected yung sinabi niya on this eh. To know is to know that you know nothing. That is the meaning of true knowledge. See? Bakit true knowledge yon? Bakit yung true knowledge is to know that you know nothing? Kasi kapag tinanggap mo that you know nothing, you become more what? You become more receptive. You become more open to information that will lead to personal growth. In fact, makakabuo na naman tayo ng isang diagram dyan, no? So, nagsimula ka sa beginner's mindset. You don't know. At dahil hindi mo alam, nagkakaroon ka ng tension, nagkakaroon ka ng hunger for more information. Ganyan naman talaga tayo, no? Pag alam nating marami tayong hindi alam, mas lalong gusto nating malaman. We have hunger for information. And that hunger for information, a certain level of tension, gusto nating pababain yan. Again, tension reduction psychology. So that hunger that you have for more information makes you exert effort. Mas nagiging teachable ka. Mas nakikinig ka sa mga nagtuturo sa'yo. Kasi nga, gutom na gutom ka sa impormasyon. And as you exert effort, as you listen to your mentors, because you are so teachable, because you have a beginner's mindset, doon nang gagaling yung personal growth. Yan ang ending mo. Nagkakaroon ka ng personal growth. All because you have a beginner's mindset. In fact, merong mas simpleng mas simpleng framework dito, no? And this is what the Bible is providing. May sinasabi rin ang Bible dyan. Sa tingin ko, kinuha lang ni Socrates yan dyan eh. Sa Proverbs 11:2. When pride comes, then comes disgrace. But with humility comes wisdom. You see? That's a very important statement. Makakabuo tayo ng framework dito based on Proverbs 11:2. That humility leads to wisdom. Why? Now it makes sense. Kasi pag humble ka, you become teachable. You become receptive. You become open to the information around you, and that gives you wisdom, and that wisdom is what you need for personal growth. Number 3, another way for you para ma-develop mo yung iyong curiosity is to ask questions about the current answers. Ask questions about the current answers. Isa na namang balakid or obstacle sa growth ng mga tao is when we think that things are already settled. Wala nang dapat itanong. Dapat dyan tanggapin na lang natin kasi tapos na yan, na-research na yan. That's the best answer for that question. Ang tawag doon, it is settled mentality. That's one obstacle to personal growth. If you want to grow, ang sinasabi ni John Maxwell, you need to be developing in you the mental habit of challenging the things that are already set. Questionin mo yung mga bagay na tinatanggap na ng maraming tao. Again, this is a little bit hard and at the same time uncomfortable to do, lalo na sa kulturang Pilipino kasi nga mahihiyain tayo. Madalas tayong nahihiya kapag kino-question natin yung mga bagay-bagay na matagal nang tinatanggap, na maraming tao na ang naniniwala. But then again, if you want personal growth, you need to overcome that fear. You need to overcome that hesitation. Kinakailangan matuto kang mag-challenge ng mga bagay-bagay. Sabi nga ni John Maxwell, no, in one of his quotes in his book, almost every advance in art, you name it, cooking, medicine, agriculture, engineering, marketing, politics, education, design, has occurred when someone, kailan daw nagkakaroon ng advancement in the field? When someone, altogether read, challenged the rules and tried another approach. Hindi mag-grow, hindi uusad, hindi magmo-modernize ang isang field of knowledge kapag walang nagcha-challenge sa mga old knowledge. One good example of this, just to demonstrate point number 3, yung field of astronomy. You study the history of astronomy, it used to be that people believe na ang sentro daw ng solar system is Earth. Base rin yan sa katuruan ng simbahan. Earth daw ang center ng solar system. And for many years, people believed this. People accepted this. Ito yung tinuturo sa mga bata. Ang sentro ng solar system ay ang mundo. But somebody by the name of Galileo Galilei began questioning that quote-unquote truth. Totoo ba na Earth ang center ng solar system? Bakit ang sinasabi ng data ko iba? Mukhang hindi yata Earth. Mukhang hindi yata Earth yung sentro ng solar system. So he began questioning, he began exerting more effort, he began researching more to prove his point. Only to find out later on he was right. And later on, nakumpirma ng iba't iba pang mga scientists like Copernicus na ang Sun pala ang center ng solar system and not the Earth. You see? Now, that is growth in astronomy. 'Di ba? In a scientific field, kapag yung isang maling knowledge na palitan ng mas tamang knowledge, that's considered growth. Nagkaroon ng growth sa astronomy. Tanong, bakit? Bakit nagkaroon ng growth sa astronomy? Because somebody questioned the already accepted truth. Kaya nag-grow in knowledge yung astronomy. Pero medyo macro yung application ng point number 3, no? You can also translate this into a personal application. For example, in counseling, 'di ba? Yung mga nagka-counseling, alam nyo to. How do you help your client achieve personal growth? Again, one technique to do this is challenging. When you question the negative existing belief of this person towards himself or herself. Halimbawa, kapag naniniwala yung kliyente mo na I am not a competent person, yan yung conclusion niya sa sarili niya. Kaya siya hindi nag-grow This belief is stopping this person from personal growth. So what do you do as a counselor? To help this person grow, you challenge this idea. Ginagawa talaga sa counseling yan. So, ang ginagawa dyan, questionin mo yung statement ng kliyente mo about him or herself. Totoo ba na hindi ka competent? Ano yung mga evidence mo na hindi ka competent? Yung mga evidences mo na competent ka, ano yung mga counter evidences mo? Hanggang sa kapag nakuha na ng client na, ay, oo nga no, mali pala tong pinaniniwalaan ko na hindi ako competent. Mas maraming evidence na competent ako. When the client realizes that is the road to personal growth. Nagbago na yung pananaw niya sa sarili niya. After all, I'm a competent person. I'm wrong about myself. That's the road to personal growth. Pero paano nangyari yon? Because the counselor challenged the existing belief of the client. Okay? So yan yung point number 3. Dapat magkaroon tayo ng ganong habit. Yung kino-question pa rin natin yung mga bagay na matagal nang tinatanggap. Like, okay, let's do this mental exercise. Think of one accepted or established idea in your field right now. Hindi ko kasi alam kung anong field of knowledge kayo nandoon, no? Pero hanap kayo ng isang idea na marami nang tumatanggap nun. And then number 2, you question, you begin to challenge the validity of that idea. Tapos hanapan mo ng isang alternative, yung isang maghanap ka ng idea na pwedeng pumalit doon sa idea na matagalan nilang tinatanggap. If you are successful doing that in your field, oh my goodness, you will become popular in your field of knowledge. O, di ba? Pero you can also apply this mental exercise in the personal level. Now, think of one accepted or established undesirable idea you have about yourself. Parang yung counselor kanina. Sabi ng kliyente niya, I am not a competent person. Hanapan mo yung sarili mo ng ganyan. Isang paniniwala mo tungkol sa sarili mo na medyo undesirable, hindi maganda, and then I want you to question that negative belief you have about yourself. Maybe you're wrong. Maybe you are not as bad as you think you are. Masyado mo lang minamagnify yung flaw mo na ganun. But if you come to think of it, if you challenge that negative thought you have about yourself, you will realize you are a much better person. Alright? So you do those mental exercises as we take a short break before, and then I'll discuss numbers 4 and 5. Alright? Diyan lang kayo. Alright, let's move on to number 4. How do you develop yourself to be more curious? You learn something new every day. Gawin mong habit yan. Before going to sleep, okay, sisiguraduhin mo na meron kang isang bagay na bago mong alam. New information that you discovered today that you didn't know yesterday. That's a very good habit to do. Wag kang matutulog na wala kang alam ngayon na bago. At yung alam mo na yun, hindi mo alam kahapon. Never ever go to bed without learning something new for that day. That's a very good habit to do to develop the habit of curiosity. So how do you do that? You start the day by asking a question that you have never asked before. Again, it all starts with asking a question. Hindi ka makakakuha ng sagot kung hindi ka naman nagtatanong. So you start your day by asking a question that you never asked before, and then within the day, before the day ends, isingit mo. Search for the answer on that question that you were asking. At yung sagot sa tanong na yan, yung answer na makukuha mo within the day, that is now the new information that you never knew before. Diba? Ngayon alam mo na, kahapon di mo alam. You do that every day for the next 30 days. And then, maganda rin dito, another practical tip is, as you do this exercise, as you do this habit, number 4, ilagay mo sa isang journal. Kaya ako may picture ng journal dyan. Ilagay mo sa notebook mo. Day 1, what question were you asking? And then, what was the answer to that question? Day 2, what's the new question? What's the answer? Day 3, so on and so forth. Never ever go to bed without learning something new every day. And I want you to realize the potential of this habit in making you grow. Imagine mo na lang araw-araw mong gawin yan. One new knowledge, one new information per day. See? That will give you 30 new information in 1 month. Oh my goodness. Kung gawin mo araw-araw yan, you will have a total of 30 new information that I'm sure you never knew last month. And those 30 new information that you know, sureball ako, pupusta ako, that will contribute big time to your personal growth. 30 new information is a big step. It's a big contribution for your own personal growth. Gawin mo pa yan ng every month for 1 year. O di times 12 yan. 30 times 12 will give you 360 new information per year. O ngayon, ipupusta ko na naman. Pupusta ako dito na yung 360 new information na bago mong alam for a year will contribute big time to your personal growth. That's why it's very good to really do this exercise. Alright? Learn something new every day. And last one, number 5, another way to cultivate your curiosity is you spend time with curious people. Ang sinasabi ni John Maxwell sa book niya, Curiosity is Contagious. Totoo yan eh. How do you sustain your habit of becoming curious if you are surrounded by people who are also curious? Kasi kapag wala kang kasama, laging ikaw na lang ang curious, 'di ba? Along the way, hihina yung motivation mo to be curious eh. But if other people around you encourage you, push you to be more curious, you are able to sustain your curiosity. Kaya hanap ka ng mga tao na mahilig ding magtanong about certain things para mas maengganyo ka, ma-encourage ka na magtanong din tulad nila. 'Di ba? Kaya ang direct application ko dito, masarap sumali sa mga Facebook groups eh. 'Di ba? Kaway-kaway diyan yung mga sumasali sa mga Facebook groups. Like for example, in my case, no, para konkreto yung example ko, I joined these 3 Facebook groups. Aspin Lovers, Home Buddies, and Mitsubishi Montero Nation. Montero Sport Nation. Yung mga may Montero Sport. Kung mapapansin niyo sa mga groups na ito, 'di ba, one of the reasons why these groups were created is to collect questions. And the members can contribute answers to those questions. And in fairness, talagang matututo ka eh. Let's talk about taking care of a dog. Gagaling ka talaga sa iyong ability to take care of dogs when you become a member of this group. You know why? Because every day if you read the contents, somebody will ask a question and then you will be exposed to many answers to those questions eh. Kaya magandang exercise na gawin yan. If you are into Facebook, imbis na mag-browse ka dyan ng kung ano-ano lang na wala kang goal, gawin mong goal yan. Pag magbabrowse ka ng Facebook, gusto mong mas tumalino sa isang field of knowledge by joining a Facebook group. And how do you do that? You go to that group and then i-browse mo yung mga pinost sa group na yon, maghanap ka ng question na tinanong ng isang member. Tapos i-open mo yung comment section, basahin mo isa-isa yung sagot doon sa tinanong ng member. And you write it down in your notebook. Kolektahin mo yung question and the answer to that question. You become better in that field. You become better in taking care of dogs. You become better in designing your home. You become better in maintaining your car. Ginagawa kong exercise yan. Meron akong 3 magkakaibang notebooks for that. Pag wala akong magawa, I go to my Facebook group. I go to Aspin Lovers, I go to Home Buddies, I go to Montero Sport Nation. Hanap lang ako ng question dun. Tapos titignan ko yung mga sagot ng mga members, tapos ililista ko yon, mapupunta ngayon yan sa memory ko. And later on, pag dumating sa situation na may na-encounter akong problema sa sarili kong aso, sa sarili kong bahay, sa sarili kong kotse, more or less I know what to do. You see, yan ang gawin nyo sa mga Facebook groups nyo. Mag-collecta kayo ng question and answers. That will contribute big time to your personal growth. Kahit nga yung mga professionals eh. Diba? Ginagamit yung principle na yan, no? Professionals gather together to encourage each other to be asking questions in their field of knowledge and find answers to that question in their field of knowledge. Kaya karamihan ng mga professionals, meron ding mga groups, merong mga organisasyon. Like for example, in my case, because I am a psychology professional, I am a member of PAP, Psychological Association of the Philippines, where a lot of members there are curious people about psychology. Marami silang mga tanong about the mind. And they try to find the answers to those questions through their research. And then every year, kaya nagkakaroon ng conference magtitipon-tipon yung mga psychologists na curious, ipepresent nila yung mga sagot nila sa tanong na meron sa field ng psychology. You see? That's how you grow. You surround yourself with people who are also asking questions, people who are also curious. Okay? So in summary, those are the 5 ways para mas ma-shape mo yung sarili mo to be more of a curious person. Number 1, don't be shy to ask. Number 2, have a beginner's mindset. Number 3, ask questions about the current answers. Number 4, learn something new every day. And number 5, spend time with curious people. The more you become curious, the more you grow as a person. And in this video, I have taught you different ways on how to train yourself, how to be more curious. So kung meron kayong kakilala in your life right now na sa tingin nyo, kailangan na makinig tong video na to o makita tong video na ito, kasi hindi siya curious, kaya hindi siya nag-grow, you have my permission to share this video, forward it to them, and help them grow as human beings. Alright? So thank you for listening. We are down to another 1 law of growth based on the book by John Maxwell. Thank you for listening. I'll see you next time. God bless.